Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the T.O.A Podcast. I am your host, Onvermel, here today with Ek, the elephant man himself.
Yeah, that's me, Elephant Man.
Pachyderm with his trunked elephantness, big floppy ears, black trunk coloredness, swashbuckling pirate Jedi Master Jedi Knight.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we got everything.
Yes. This is a little bit interesting because this is literally probably the closest I've recorded a podcast by the time I'm uploading it. Where this is the night before, which is a lot later than normal, but it's fine.
Hey, as long as you get the uploads in, you're good. Reminds me, I need to get some Pirate's Life uploaded. Otherwise, there's going to be nothing on Friday.
Yeah, just got to get on that. Like I said, we're a little inconsistent right now.
Yeah, it's the holidays.
Inconsistent, this thing is with my upload schedule, he's like, you have no idea when I make these. A lot of times I say it.
We could be recording 3 in one day and you would never know.
I think for a lot of people it's a misconception that, things, for some people, most podcasts get uploaded like the day after they're recorded. Or something like that. There's a misconception that things are, made right as they're going out for YouTubers.
No.
For a lot of people, I think some of these people forget that either you record a bunch of videos in one day and upload them stagnated, or, you're actually uploading, like, you're making this, like, a few weeks before. But general viewers may not notice that. But the true misconceptions, or mistakes, was us being younger with Bionicles, actually.
Oh, yes. There were mistakes.
Well, obviously we were there from day one and didn't necessarily have access to all the lore.
We also weren't that smart of kids.
We were kids. I was 5, 6.
Yeah, when you're 5 or 6, you're pretty stupid.
Let's be honest.
It doesn't matter even if you're a smart kid. When you're 6, you're stupid.
And it's one of those things, it's just like, there's not a whole lot of...
I would have been, 4 years old in that, 2001.
So you would have been like 9, going on 10.
Yeah, 9.
And let's be honest, we weren't smart kids. Even in our pre-teens, we were kind of still not the smartest.
In some sense, we were a little bit slow.
We matured a little bit slower than others. Or
a lot slower than some others.
Yes.
And I'm sure there was someone we were faster than.
Well, probably. But, you look back at, like, those early days, and as I say, we didn't have Wikipedia, we didn't have, wikis about Bionicle. We didn't have the books. We had, like, maybe started getting some of the comics after, like, the first year. So the first year, we didn't even have comics, I don't think.
I do remember getting the very first comic and reading it. I lost my original copy, but I do remember getting it and opening it.
But let's be honest, the comics only have, like, part of the information. Bionicle was very much, you read the comics, you read the books, you play Monog, you go online.
That one's very important, playing Monog.
And we, the younger ones, didn't have much knowledge. The Lost T.O.A was the knowledgeable one. So us younger ones, we had no idea. So, like, the first Christmas was our first Bionicles in 2001. And we got some T.O.A.
It was probably like a month or two before when the Lost T.O.A and How One got the first Bionicle.
Because the first one was on St. Nicholas Day, which was, I believe, they got in New York.
No, I don't think it was St. Nicholas Day. I believe they bought it.
It was like October.
They shared it, and then...
It was like a month or two before.
Yeah, it was...
Which was a Neo, but, I think when that first Christmas rolled around, I know they had gone T.O.A Pocket for Christmas, or they bought with that Christmas money right after.
Did they get them on Christmas? I think they got them on Christmas, maybe.
But at that point, I would say no one knew anything about the lore.
Well, I think the comics had started in, like, June, July.
Okay, us younger ones didn't have the lore, definitely. Maybe. But basically, no, I remember, at least when I first got T.O.A, I had no idea who was a wise old sage. I thought he was just this little kid-like character.
Oh, yeah. I remember playing with my Vicama up and down the stairs. And
I'm pretty sure that...
Oh, no, I lost my mask!
I'm pretty sure
that's about all I could do with one Vicama.
I'm pretty sure that persisted at least for a good while. Because even I think once we learned they were, like, wiser, I don't think the voices ever really changed.
The voice kind of transferred to the Matorn once we realized that those were the young ones.
Yeah, they're all technically the same age, but the idea of,
Well, you just look at the Mask of Light, the movie. It's like the T.O.A, much deeper voices. The T.O.A are the old teasers.
Technically, like, mentally, like, Matorn are basically, like, I would say... Mentally, the point I would say you would have, like, people in, like, college age would be, like, the oldest you would get a Matorn who's, like, mentally in their juvenile. You haven't grown up to being the T.O.A or Borak if you're a T.O.A on the Matorn of Light.
Goo and Gel as college roommates. Oh, yep, makes perfect sense.
It's like when you put them, especially in Monog specifically, like in Metro Nui, everyone feels a little bit more put together. But in Mananui, everyone feels like teenagers or college kids, college hockey. Goalie.
Oh, yes. Or college lacrosse. With rocks.
But this is the thing, is like, at least something like that, we got corrected, and we learned to, okay, they're actually Taraga, they're the wise old ones, right? Mm-hmm. But you get certain things, and some things did not get corrected for a long time, even if it was very obvious, such as the pronunciation of Tarakava. We said Tarkava back in the day. It was Tarkava. We just skipped an A.
Akmu. It was Akamu.
Akamu. Yeah, a lot of the early names we mispronounced.
Okay, so when I first discovered Bionicle,
yeah,
when I was looking at the names of the characters, I had no idea how to pronounce any of them. But some of them I think I got very close, but the one that stands out to me especially is when I saw Pohatu, I thought it was pronounced like photo. Not like a photograph, but like a photo or something.
Does it a PH? Well, you take the first vowel, and you're very close to that. Let's be honest, we're very good at missing vowels.
Yeah, I was skipping a lot.
Well, it's like the Tarakava. It's like, we went Tarkava. Just skipped an A.
And for quite a while, I remembered how I had first thought Kopaka was pronounced. But
Kepasa. I know it was, I think, a really early one.
No. I remember thinking something else. I can't remember what it is anymore.
I think someone had called him Coco very early on. Because there's a reason why I think Zach had named a character Coco.
Maybe something like Kopaka.
Kopaka. That actually wouldn't be far off from the truth. But a lot of those early names, I don't remember many of them back then, like Liwa, Tao, they're all 4-letter words. They're pretty easy. But when
the pronunciation of Liwa was kind of up in the air.
Lewa, Liwa, Lua. Which one do you want to go for?
There's a real, you go from this media, it's pronounced this way.
Do you go by Greg? Do you go by the commercials? Or do you go by one other person?
Or do you go by the Wikipedia?
I think the general consensus is Liwa is, I think, the most universally accepted. But the problem is, the first time you hear it spoken was in the commercial, like the really early commercials, where it was Lewa.
And I think in the Bionicle Encyclopedia, it's actually pronounced, it's Lewa.
But that's Greg. But you ask everyone else, I think, like Christian Faber, he says Lewa, I think. Or he has a different way of saying it, so it's like... But Mask of Light says Lewa, which is, I would say, out of all the audio stuff you hear, is the highest, I would say...
Exactly.
So it's like, do you go by the Mask of Light, which is like the movie?
It's Bionicle, Mask of Light, the movie.
So it's like, is it Lewa? Or do you go by the old commercial, which is Lewa? Or do you go Lua, which if you say Lua, you're wrong.
Yeah, that's just no.
But actually, speaking of Mask of Light, one of the things from there that I know took forever for us to realize how it was actually pronounced was Usanui. Yeah. I think we said the Usani was how we...
Yeah, Usani.
But it makes sense. There's a Nui at the end. It's like Bionicle words like Nuis. The thing is, it didn't really break up. For some reason, we always had just the Usani. And then eventually we went Usanui.
Wait a minute. And I think someday maybe we just looked at the encyclopedia and realized, oh, it's Usanui. Oh, it makes so much sense.
Well, I think that's how we kind of came across really how to pronounce Tarakava.
Yeah.
Or we actually say Tarakava. I don't know which one's...
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think the early commercials say Tarakava, but I think Tarakava is acceptable. It's like Gali and Gali, Mm-hmm. There's a lot. I think there's a fair few names. One name that I'm like, Carapper.
Carapper.
I think it's Carapper. I don't care what people think. I still think it's Carapper.
Oh, Crapper. It's just Crapper.
And then like Elek is apparently Alec.
Yeah, but the Rocky were kind of weird.
It's like okay, Elek. Well, he's like an eel, but no, it's Alec. Oh, okay, Carapper. He's like a crab. Carapper. I'm like, oh, he's French.
Well, there's carapace, like crabs, like carapace.
Yeah. Let's be honest. When it comes down to getting stuff wrong about Bionicle, most of it was just generally down to pronunciations of names. But I do remember,
Well, another thing that, I remember the Metro Nui. When they was, first in the magazines or whatever, the 6 Matoran, one of them's hiding a dark secret.
We all thought it was Orcam, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because he had the red eyes. But if we had played Monog, it would have been bloody obvious.
Yeah, that's the thing. We might have... Yeah.
At that point, we didn't even realize that the name Akmu was reused from Monog. But, we had never played Monog at that point.
It was right after that. That was,
yeah, it wasn't long after we realized What? He's in Monog?
But no, I remember with Aqua, or Cam, another reason why we thought it was him, at least for me and Zach, or it might have just been me. I remember this conversation. We were looking at like the very first comics of them being in trouble. You know, oh, he's up on the pillar. Oh, I'm stuck in the chute. And we're like, he's a Levitorn. He works for the chutes. There's no way he'd be stuck in there. We always just like, that's BS. He's stuck in the chute. You can't get stuck in a chute.
I definitely remember part of my reasoning was just because he had the red eyes. That makes him evil.
I mean, Aqua had blue eyes. He can't be evil, right?
I mean, just the color change of the Mechu eyes was kind of odd at the time.
Yeah. I also do briefly remember, this is just a specific me thing, because I was still young when 2004 came around, and Kreka had the weapon of the green Vaki and the black Rochi as his hands. And I remember thinking, well, if he has those must be his powers, he must have the power of both those stabs and weapons. And you're like, Paul, no, they're just his hands. That's not how it works.
Those aren't his weapons. Those are his hands.
I had my mind blown that day.
I'm not even sure about that, to be honest.
Well, weapons were so...
Kreka's kind of a mess.
Well, weapons were very rarely ever reused for the most part.
Trying to figure out what Kreka's eyes were, I don't think we realized that the trans-red thing was his eye until we saw the movie.
Yeah, but
just because the box art still shows like the Vaki head eyes.
Yeah, the box is really weird that it lights up his eyes.
Probably whoever's doing the box art had the same problem we had. Like, oh, it's not the red thing; it's the eyes on the Vaki thing.
Like I say, I have a lot to say about packaging with Bionicle stuff. So if I get to the set reviews, I do have a lot to say about packaging more than some people would think. I found a few mistakes.
That's got an interesting thing.
Like I said, I got some interesting ones I want to get to at some point. So stay tuned for that someday.
Stick around a long time. Maybe we'll have thrown Galley in the water before this happens.
Possible. I mean, when am I going to throw Galley in the water?
Something has to happen.
Like 250 subscribers?
222?
Or was it just until basically a video gets 1,000 views in a relatively short amount of time?
I don't know.
One or the other.
Some big thing has happened during summer because it's winter and all the water's
Yeah, if it's something big happens during winter, I'll do something for Kopaka.
Not that we've had much snow lately.
No, it'll happen. January's rolling around. Don't worry. Snow will come.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to snow tonight even.
Honestly, the way it's been outside, I wouldn't be surprised. But, yeah, really, after about 2005, I would say our misconceptions of anything Bionicle was... The only misconceptions we had were stuff that they didn't explain, you know?
And there was just stuff like, we had seen the leaks of the sets or whatever, we know about the sets, but we didn't get any lore yet. These are the upcoming sets, but what's going on with these sets?
Because I don't really remember, outside really those first 4 years, ever having moments of, wait, what is this? What is that? How does this work? Because at that point, especially once 2006 rolled around, we had access to
internet.
Well, and then also BionicleStory.com, not BZ Power, but Biosector 1, and those just Lego.com
I mean,
itself.
yes, in theory we had access to BZ Power, but
we never were on it.
We weren't on.
I think we might have known about it in passing.
Yeah, it's possible we knew about
through
it.
Biosector 1, but yeah. So, but I'm not sure this kind of misconception or being wrong about something, because I remember taking the idea that Makuta rips the Krat out of his body very literally. I know Krat are technically made out of Makuta essence, but I'm I don't know how literal that is.
It was so convenient how Makuta had the Roshki things as part of his legs. So
I'll be honest, I took the metaphor of the sons of Makuta probably more literally than at first, especially when it was too far for me. I was like, yeah, these are the sons of Makuta. And then when you got to mention Nui and you see Orochi in one of the comets and they get mentioned in Arcus, I'm like, how's that work? No, there's not more. There's just 6 Roshi, There's sons of Makuta. You tell me Makuta was making, but they don't have Krata in them, do they? Wait, how does this work? I guess I was really confused when I was younger. Confusing was being really easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not difficult to confuse a poor young
8-year-old boy.
Yeah, like I said, Cracker confused me. Nidiki. I mean,
what's still confusing is Nidiki's crap mode.
I feel like that was just more of a play feature that Greg couldn't find a way to work in the story, and that was about it. Because there was also a mode, a function of the toy, and then it was can you work in the story? And it's just
nah. I'm just gonna not.
Well, it's the
I'm gonna make him fly instead.
Well, it's the combo model of the Makuta Nui.
Yeah.
That never got worked in the story. The best is that I think it's this is supposedly a form Makuta could take, and that was it. Where it's Makuta could take that form if he wanted. Supposedly. I know. I feel like I'm trying to remember early on where like. I mean, I swear there was like earlier stuff that I just. Those younger ones we were confused about how things
we were
worked.
learning like what exactly can the mask powers do? What exactly can their elemental powers? Like, does a Troga have elemental powers? Do they not?
Like like the problem was like going back to like that's trying to go back to like what 20 years ago, trying to remember.
Oh, the Bullrock. The Bullrock.
The Bullrock.
When you're reading the comics, the noise is like a CKK, like something like that. But we just had to go shika.
The shika.
So, hit the trigger and just shika.
We made that into a sound effect, and their language is going shika.
I blame Hal 1 for that. He started it.
Well, like the Borg Vaw would be like, we had to have shika pork with shika Vaw.
Give me the shika Vaw.
The shika Vaw. Like, it is one of those.
And then it was the shika call.
Also, the Borg Vaw, I was really confused how they worked when I was younger.
I still look at their things like the Borok eyes. Those are teeth. And the pinhole on the
look like
shield,
eyes.
that some of them have one eyes, some of them have two eyes. But to me, like, the Borok
Vaw
had
hard.
teeth.
That's really hard to unsee. Well, same thing with like the Borok call is that their eyes are their eyes, but at the same time the faceplate has a couple holes like near the base of it.
I've never really seen that.
I can unsee it, but the moment I look at it, I see it again. It's just like those. They look like eyes. The thing is, humans like seeing eyes, so it's not like a shock to be wanting to see eyes or something.
Faces and lots of things.
But they really did look like eyes, and I'm like, this is
another misconception. Kopik.
Oh, Kopiki.
He's got two things. In fact, I thought his name was Kopiki. Kopiki.
We all thought it was Kopiki back then.
Two, since there was like, I thought like, is he supposed to be an Onumatoran? Because they've got a Komatoran there.
Well,
but like two.
Well, things with
the whole Koli-Matoran match, which was confusing because there wasn't 6 colors for the first time.
But it's like no, the funny thing is it's pretty much almost what Tapu looked like in Minogue.
Yes. But once again, we hadn't really seen Minogue much.
We knew it was Hafu. So it's like, you convinced yourself for about a few days that Kopiki was...
I tried to convince myself.
He was let's be honest. I mean, at that point, he's like, you were getting delegated the blacks, but you were still trying to collect the reds.
Yeah, I wasn't fully committed to being, the black Bionicle person.
I was the brown, and it was very good. It was very nice. But,
and easy.
Yeah. Also, one thing that I don't know I feel like I found evidence to support this, but the silver masks on the mask sets, we always had, at least the older siblings, I don't know if they came across the information or they just decided that they were, unlike the golds, they didn't have all 6 powers, they had 3. Basically the powers of like the 3, like the Kata. So you would have Kapak, Tahus, Onuas, and Platus have the same 3 powers of them through, and then same for the other 3. And for the longest of time, I thought that was only like just our older brothers made up. And so then later on, Zacta and I had a theory that one of the silvers are just meant to represent powerless Kenobi.
Yeah, I think I've seen that theory online.
But again, it's like, okay, you're getting this cool mask pack, why would you get powerless Kenobi? But I feel like I came across, I could be wrong about this, but I felt like at some point with my internet spelunking, I came somewhere...
Wasn't it like one of those game cards?
There was like a game card or like just some sort of promotional image on something where mentioning that the silver had 3 powers of the T.O.A, or they were like Troga. Like, I swear I got validation to the older siblings' theory on them, and I don't know if that's still true or not. I haven't seen silver masks as having powers in a long time. Now they're just masks for mocking or displaying.
That are mocking's annoying because no other color matches.
I like the idea that they are the powerless Kenobi, because in all art it's always shown that before Kenobi gets put on,
it's a grayish, silverish color.
Which for me personally, I really like that idea. You get the... It doesn't really get making a silver mask very cool per se, but it does make them more lore appropriate, because really, in those first 3 years of all the collectibles and sets, the silver Kenobi were kind of really the outlier. Because Nuvas at least only ever had recolors, and the silver, which were powerless Nuvas.
Yeah, like those were obvious.
So it really should have been obvious, or should have really made sense in our own minds that the other silver. But again, at that point, we had already been thinking that they were 3 mass powers instead of 6 like the gold. The the silver. So for us, a lot of times, if we had more silver than gold masks, like my T.O.A would wear their silver masks. What does it mean? They got 3 mask powers, not 6. I think my only one that I had the gold was Poatu, so it's just like,
hey man, I'm gold.
I mean, yeah. And then of course the thing everyone got confused about back in the day was which cow was Pohatu's.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of delegated the orange pod because there was no one else.
I think we may have deduced it just because it matches his eyes.
And we pretty much had everyone else's.
And we knew the trans black, which ironically is now called trans brown.
Well, because Lego tried making trans brown, and they got that. And they went, okay, this works good for a new one, now we need to do something for Pohatu. Because I'm pretty sure that's literally what happened. They tried making trans brown, and it looked like smoke. And they're like, this isn't going to work.
I know it took them 20 years later.
What were they going to do if they made trans brown? How would they make, how much tinted would trans black ended up looking like if they kept smoke as brown?
Well, the thing is, now they have this other color that's called trans black.
I still don't really notice the difference, honestly. I don't think I've got enough new sets.
It's way more tinted. Let's just put it that way. It's much harder to see.
I don't think I've gone... I mean, almost all the transes don't look like they used to, honestly.
No, just back in that day, they were using a different plastic for sure. And nowadays, yeah, they're definitely using a different plastic, different process.
Yeah.
Which is quite unfortunate. Certain colors have died.
It is very sad. Also, one thing I know at first... When this was really early years that I didn't quite realize was that all the Kanois on the Rahi are technically supposed to be infected.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, I was like, okay, all of the infected house are infected, but all the others are just normal mass. I'm like, and then I realized, wait, they're all supposed to be infected. Doesn't make a lot of sense with the anatomy.
You still look at the Nui Rom and like, those are actually just masks.
Those are just eyes.
Those are just eyes.
Let's be honest, they were the whole. I mean, when you got the Moaka and County Rumble, okay, they really could have had a stick with an infected hand thing and just stabbed it and they're like, here, get a couple syringes of infectedness. The Tarkava, it's like, okay.
Well, if you think about maybe the animals just normally have a mask on them for whatever strange reason.
That's the thing that it's like, okay, that's where the set designers and the story kind of just more like, okay, it's a gimmick and it's, don't think too much about it. It's pretty much one of those.
Yeah.
I kind of missed. I mean, let's be honest. Makuda's also got a couple of Evokies on his hands, so it's like
he does not have the power of light doubled up.
Actually, speaking of even just the powerless Kanois, the Usanuis with the dark gray How.
Yes.
I always thought it was weird that it wasn't a. It was like, okay, it matches the vehicle color, but it's supposed to be yellow like in the movie. And then I think fairly quickly we realized, oh, it's a powerless because
it's supposed to be powerless, I guess.
But it's one of those things where it's like, I know when I was first there, I just thought it was weird. I was like, okay, nice, cool, new color, How, but I want that to be yellow. Why isn't it yellow? It doesn't make sense it's not yellow. And even Takanuba's transparent mask, I don't think we ever it's also supposed to, it's supposed to be a cool extra mask, which I'm assuming is supposed to be it's getting used,
Yes, I'm using my power of light. I got my glittery mask now.
My
mask is glowing!
Your mask is glowing. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know if that mask is supposed to be a using version, or if it's more just here's a cool speckly version you can put on it.
Maybe there was a purpose that they had in mind, but
I feel like they were just here, have a mask, have something cool, have a trinket. Weirdly enough, it's also one of the very few printed Bionicle pieces.
Yeah.
Which is kind of one of those realizations, yeah, that's printed.
It's the scroll shield.
The scroll shield, that, technically the tiles on the Moaka and Canara Bowl.
Yeah, those barely count, but they do. And I guess the minifigured heads.
If you're
Bionicle.
If you're going into that, then yes, you could say.
Even when you go into the system sets, it doesn't really add much.
No, not really.
Because a lot of them relied on stickers. Or just nothing. They didn't have design.
Yeah, no, they were fun. Also, one thing I know that we hypothesized when they came out was the spinner launcher sets. We were thinking, okay, is this yellow? Because all the spinners matched elements, right? Mm-hmm. And of course we got yellow and orange. And we're like, is this a We were trying to find, like, rationalize why they had colored spinners. Like, are these elemental spinners? What would yellow and orange be? It didn't last very long for us to kind of get the realization, like, they're just colorful spinners. There's nothing there.
There is no purpose other than collect all the colored spinners.
I'm trying to remember what we had thought about with the yellow, because you had gone the yellow, and
Yeah.
that was, I think, what's really was story. It's like, is yellow supposed to be, like acid or something? Like, what is this supposed to be? Mustard? The spinner of mustard? Well, let's be honest, even Lego at that point was having a hard time of getting,
The spinners are one of the most gimmicky gimmicks.
they're fun,
Honestly, we did have
but they're very lore weak. Even, like, a lot of the characters just having it don't really have, like, a real good reason to have spinners. It's like,
well, even just the way it's portrayed in the movie, it's like they're just shooting energy. Whereas in the toy, you've got this, like, long stick you gotta pull out, and this thing just flies off at you.
it is, of all the gimmicks, the one that sticks out the most, which was still weird to me. I think Kitango gets an antenna for his ripcord.
And the fact that the spinner's red.
Yeah, but it's hidden in his belly guts, so it's like... Which is... Oh, yeah. Kitango's eye... What about it? I think he technically has 2 eyes in the movie. Because I swear he's got 2 eyes on the side. That he's got, like... I swear there was some sort of, like, debate on whether or not Kitango has 1 eye, or if he's got, like, 2 or 3. Like, I know in the line he literally says... He sees with his 1 eye what we all mess up. I'm like, okay, does he have 3 eyes? Does he have 2 eyes? Does he have 1 eye? I'm pretty sure he's supposed to have just 1 eye, but I feel like the movie made him look like he had 2 side eyes.
Yeah, it's
For
been a
some
while since
reason.
I've seen that, so I can't really...
And I'm just like, okay. Sure. Let's go with that. Oh, yeah. My brain. This is too late in the day and the week for my brain to be able to think of, I totally went into this thinking that there was more stuff that we had goofed up as kids and didn't understand.
I'm sure there's more.
Like, I
just
know,
not coming to mind.
like, I know that there are, and maybe part of me was thinking, oh, if Tao's holding Kopaka's sword, he's got ice powers now, and Kopaka holds Tao's sword, he's got fire. I'm sure that was a thing for a bit, more likely than not. But like I said, we always had the comics. Older brother, did play Monog, one in line, and had, I think, one of the, like, simple encyclopedia books, like, relatively on. So there was such a short line of us not knowing stuff. Like, the biggest thing is that we just didn't know how to pronounce a lot of names. Because we said it one way and never fact-checked, ever. Like,
no, like, even when we got that first, my first encyclopedia, I wasn't looking how to pronounce the names.
well, I think the most recent stuff that we pronounced was Erie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Erie that we used to pronounce. Erie. And then we were like, oh, it's Erie. And that was like 6 years ago when we were collecting our sets that you realized, oh, it's Erie.
Yeah, we were adults long after these sets had come out before I realized the pronunciation.
And it's possible that was from the T.O.A podcast that they had mentioned, and we went, oh.
Who the F are you talking about? What the F is an Erie?
Erie. And not even like Nuri, I think. Nuri. I think we call them Nuri or Nuri. Like, I'm pretty sure there's been a lot of the Nuri Matorn, I'm pretty sure had variations of how to pronounce Orcam.
Tahuti, Vizola.
I think Vizola and Tahuti were pretty much known from day one.
Yeah, but Akamu was definitely Akamu.
Akamu, yes. Put a vowel in there, Tarakeva, take a vowel out, put it over there, put it with his name. There's a lot of vowels missing and moving around. Honestly, it was the biggest, I would say, problem. Like, honestly, like I said, in later years, I would say a lot of Bionicle names were pronounced exactly how you looked at it. Like, Akar.
He's a car.
Skrull.
Well, it's Akar or is it a car?
Baraki. I mean, okay, yes, like with the Baraki, like with Pridak. Is it Pridak?
Elec.
I like to think Pridak is Pridak, not Pridak. Is he predating you or is he prideful? Is he a predator? Like, which one is?
Yeah, the Baraki was different.
Pridak, Elec, Karapper, Tacadox, I've heard.
Yeah, Tacadox or
Tacadox.
Then there's
Mantax. Everyone's got Mantax. Black Mana and all that.
Kalma.
I think Kalma's, I haven't heard any other ways pronounce it.
What was Calamari?
Maxilos.
It could be
Maxilos. Maxilos.
Yeah.
Hydraxin.
Hydraxin.
So like I said, a lot of these names are... And like I said, I could look it up, but there's so many that it would take forever to really figure out most of them.
You could basically go through every Bionicle name and say, yeah, this is how we first pronounced it, and this is how it's actually pronounced.
I'm sure someone pronounced Tehu at first.
That sounds like something I might have thought of.
May not last very long, but it was very possible that we went Tehu. And I know in Niwa I had a hard time pronouncing his name, I think, when I was younger.
Yeah, well, some people think it's Onawa.
Onawa, I think, is an acceptable, but the thing is, you could pronounce it Onua.
Yes, and some people have, I heard.
But then, like, there's an actual Onua that you can't... Onawa, Traga Onawa. Well, because I think in the bonus features of Masculine, it's Onawa. But I think if you go by the encyclopedias, it's Oniwa. I'm pretty sure. Bionicle names have a lot of variations of how you can pronounce it, but, like I said, we're only human. But if you want to go for the biggest thing that took us quite a long time to realize is the Bionicles are biomechanical beings. I don't know when. I'm pretty sure it was like Hordika that we kind of figured that out fully. We went, oh, they're biomechanical beings.
They're not robots?
Because I remember in the fourth one, it's like by at least 2004 with the Metroid, I don't think that was thought across our mind. But I think when Hordika came around, it really got to the point of, oh, they're biomechanical. Because, I mean,
Mask of
Light might have gone us thinking, but I think we may have been like, why do they look funny? Like, we might have been 2004 where it was like, but that took a few years for us to realize, oh, they're not just robots. Which, I mean, makes sense, But once you start looking at what Bionicle being biological chronicle, but...
Well, we didn't realize it was biological chronicle.
That's an inside.
We thought it just meant, like, biological mechanical.
Biomechanical.
Bionicle.
It was the cool word. But yeah, no. I mean, if you want to go for stuff, the whole everything about how the universe works, but that doesn't count. That's just a secret that we didn't know about, and we were duped like most of everyone else.
Like,
not everyone, but most people. Because I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that some people in the forums had basically come up with a theory about the giant robot, and most people were like, that's silly.
That's ridiculous. Well, some person on the desk is just going...
But I'm pretty sure that was like just a few fringe theories who had it, not like it was never accepted because no one could really figure out how things worked. But anyways, we're past the 30-minute mark, so I think we'll be cutting off here. And let's be honest, this didn't have as much to really go over as I thought outside of name pronunciations, but that's fine. That's fine. Thank for anyone who's been listening to this point. Consider liking and subscribing if you really want to. I'm the Purple Man, So purple. Don't have anything that deal with anything.
Blacktron.
Exactly. But this has been the T.O.A Podcast. I have been your host, Onvermel, and we are retiring from the night.